If you'd like, you make an opening statement. We'll open the floor for questions.
No, we can open the floor.
Questions for Coach Boeheim? Here front right.
Hi, Jim. Doug Haller, the Arizona Republic. You were in position to actually coach against Bobby Hurley as a player. Do you see any of those qualities that he demonstrated as a player?
No, Bobby was an unbelievable player. I started watching him when he was in high school, really. I was, known his father for a long time. We recruited his school a long time. And, he was a player that just, gave everything every play. And he coaches the same way, and he's done an incredible job both at Buffalo and then now coming out to Arizona State. He's his whole family is probably as intense as any basketball family, and his mother probably leads the way. Nobody knows that.
You're on the left.
Marcos Ledesma, University of Dayton. What are some of the challenges Arizona State's present to you?
Well, they obviously the start to the season, they're a top 5 team in the country, and when you get to a tournament, that's what you expect to see them play at that level, and they obviously shoot the ball extremely well. They push the ball up the court as well as any team in the country. They're as good an offensive team as anybody in the country. Any team that has multiple scorers is always a difficult team to play defensively against. And they have multiple guys that can shoot it and get to the basket and push the ball up the court.
Back left.
Hi, Jim. Garrett Hill, University of Dayton. What's it like coaching this special group of guys, and how do they compare to teams in the past that you've coached in the tournament?
Well, this team has done everything you could ask them to do. It's obviously, we have 3 guys that play 40 minutes every game, and we really cannot take them out of the game, and it's been a challenge for them when you go over the course of the season, when you get into certain stretches where you play Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's a very difficult league. There's no games that you can take off, and you have to give maximum effort in every play. We were in those kind of games all year, so I think this group deserves, in my mind, I give them a tremendous amount of credit for how they've hung in there, and obviously we have some tremendous challenges health-wise all year with the number of guys, and guys played hurt all year long. Everybody on our team, and we have 7 guys now. One's hurt all the time, and the other guy's been hurt for about 6 weeks, and the 5 starters have something going on with them, but they've hung in there. They deserve an awful lot of credit, I think.
You're on the right again.
Mike Waters from the Syracuse Post-Standard. Jim, piggybacking off of that, does this year compare to any other year in terms of injuries and departures that you've had over the last 40-some-odd years? And maybe
well, we don't always. We try to have 9 guys or 10. I mean, ideally, the year we won the championship, we had 9. We played 8. I mean, that's the right number. Everybody's happy. You just when you start with 9, you can't afford to have anything from an injury standpoint go wrong. And we lost a guy late this year, coming into the summer or at the end of the summer that obviously hurt us in our front line. We lost a guard early that we didn't expect to, and then when Howard got hurt, that was You know, I've never had a team with two guards, recruited guards on the team. I don't know of any program in the country that's had a team that has two guys that were recruited in the backcourt. So in a lot of ways, we're very fortunate that those two guys got through the year. I think we're really fortunate for that, and with the amount they've had to play. Again, it's been, we've never been at where you have five healthy guys and two guys that are not really healthy that are playing. So it's been a unique type of year. You just need 8 guys, and if you have 7 healthy guys, that's really all you need. There's a lot of teams in this tournament right now that really only play 7 guys. I mean, there's a couple teams that are exceptions to that, but for the most part, if you look at the great teams that have played over the years in this tournament, 3 or 4 guys play most of the time, and 2 or 3 guys play most of the rest of the time, and then there's maybe 1 or 2 guys that play a couple minutes here and there in the big game, in the tough games. But we're a little bit under where we'd like to be, for sure.
You're back left.
Michael Offersweiler, University of Dayton. Coach, are you looking forward to the coaching matchup against Bobby Hurley and his family's history?
Well, you know, I've known the Hurleys for 40 years, going back, actually before that, when I was an assistant coach. Bob Hurley's, you can make a good case that he's the best high school coach that ever coached. No one has worked harder at the game than Bob Hurley did. I've been around him for a long time and watched him and watched his practices and teams, and there's nobody more prepared and more involved in coaching than Bob. And Danny and Bobby are very, very similar. They'll never be as good as their father, but they're pretty good. Bob Hurley is one of the great coaches that ever coached basketball anywhere.
You're on the right.
Brad Mogley, University of Dayton. You've experienced a lot of locations and a lot of NCAA tournaments. How would Dayton stack up so far with some of the others?
This is great. It's a great place. It's better to make the comments after the game, but I feel this is like as good as any place we've been, and I think it will be. I'm anticipating a little bit, but I think it's a great place to host this tournament. The people here do a great job. They want it here. And there's a lot of first-round sites that you go to that I've gone to over the years that aren't really that good. So, this is obviously seems like a great place, and I'm sure I'll have that same feeling after we've been here for a couple of days.
Front right again.
Mike Waters, Syracuse Post-Standard. You mentioned all the minutes that Frank and Tyus have to play, that they don't come off the court, but they're guards, and I don't know if that makes them able to play more, but with Pascal and the minutes he's had to play, how has he been able to kind of, especially late in the year here, keep going the way he has? Because we know he's been
Well,
hurt.
it's his first year, Mike, and I think he's growing into what he's doing. I mean, people don't sometimes realize that he really didn't play that much high school basketball here. He was kind of new to the game, and his freshman year he played very little, 10 minutes maybe a game at Providence. Then he sat out a year. Then last year he got hurt after a few games, and really never played more than 15 minutes a game probably last year. And then to come into this year, and I think he's made a great adjustment. I think he's really at this level of playing time and experience of a freshman. So I think he's gotten better. I think he can get a lot better. But overall, he's had a really, really solid year. He's the reason our defense is better this year than it was last year. He's the main reason that our defense is better this year. We didn't have that center presence last year, and that hurt us. We were a really good offensive team last year, and we were a terrible defensive team.
Any further questions for Coach? In the back, left.
Tiffany Hendricks, University of Dayton. With this team being more inexperienced and a little bit younger, how do you tell them to approach this tournament, it being a win or go home?
You know, when you're playing this tournament, it's obviously it's very important. Everybody knows how the importance, but you have to try to approach it like it's your next game, and you try to get them ready the same way you would, because with this team, and every game was crucial for us. We couldn't let any game slip away. Even in the Wake Forest game, Wake Forest is a very good offensive team. We had to have that win, but every game we played during the year, or going back to the beginning when we played Toledo and Eastern Michigan and Oakland and Buffalo, we knew those games were going to be important. We knew those teams were going to be good, and Iona and Texas Southern, 3 of those teams got into the NCAA tournament. And so we knew every game we had to be prepared. We couldn't have a game like, well, we're just not quite ready tonight, because we couldn't win against those teams. And this team, has been focused all year. They've done really the best I think they could do, and that's unusual. If you're honest, you really would not say that about every team. Every team slips here or slips there, or doesn't come out. Not necessarily doesn't come out to play, but doesn't come out and play well. This team's done everything they could do. We have our shortcomings on offense, but there's never been a lack of trying to get things done. And we have approached tournaments for a long time, like, let's get ready and try to play the way we can play. But when you're on the edge every game, you get used to it. We're used to having to play well. And obviously, in this tournament, you have to play well.
Front right again.
Mike Waters, Syracuse Post-Standard. Did you recruit Bobby or Danny? Because the only
Yeah,
St. Anthony's guy I remember is Terrence
we didn't
Roberts.
recruit Danny. PJ got him early, so I figured that would be enough punishment for Danny having to play for PJ. But we did recruit Bobby. It was a confluence of we obviously were at the top of our game back then, and we recruited Bobby, and that was the year Kenny Anderson was in the same class, and there was a couple other. I think it was Kenny. I hope I'm right. And it was a great guard. I think it was, and we did recruit him. He came up, but it was really Duke got in there. It was really, we focused that year on Kenny, and so, but we recruited both those guys that year. My recollection of it is.
Am I missing any other St. Anthony's guys besides Terrence?
We recruited at St. Anthony's. I told Bob, Bob and I were have been good friends for 40 years. We never really got anybody there for a long time. A couple guys we might have been able to get, we really didn't like that much, and a couple other guys. I mean, I go back to Mandy Williams, who when I was an assistant coach, who ended up at Marquette, that we recruited, and there was a number of guys that we never really got locked in on a guy that wanted to come and that we wanted. It was always that, and Terrence was the first guy that really came and had a good career for us. But I would go pretty much every year down to St. Anthony's to watch a practice and talk to Bob.
Any further questions?
Thank you.
Jim, thank you. Next scheduled start of a press conference will be at 1:35.